What's up, y'all? It's finally here. The last video, the last episode of season 2 of Dangerous Minds, and the video that you've all been waiting for. I know I'm 7 days late. Happy New Year's. And I apologize, but the holidays, work, and etc. gets in the way of things. But we are finally here with my top 10 albums of 2017 as we move into the new year. I appreciate y'all sticking with me and supporting this show. As I wrap up season 2, promise season 3 will be bigger and better than ever. I have had to revise this list about 10 times. So please forgive me that if your favorites did not make it on this list, understand that this is my opinion. And with a great year like 2017 in the books when it comes to music, it was bound to be some albums that was gonna not land on this list. Just like the Grammy nominations. I was upset that A Tribe Called Quest did not get a nomination for their excellent album, which ended up on number 1 of my top 10 albums of 2016 list. And I was upset that they did not get a Grammy nomination coming into the 2018 Grammys. But at the same time, I thought about it. It was so much great hip hop music that came out this year. It's really hard to say what album should have got bumped for them or what song should have got bumped in the nominees. That's how great of a year that 2017 was. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and hop into it with some honorable mentions. First honorable mention, an album that I feel like did not get a lot of props. The release was real low key. A lot of the singles didn't really get the love that I think it should have, but this was a great album and it's really stuck with me, and it came out in like the spring of 2017. The album I'm talking about is Finn by Sid. I loved the Internet's last album, Grammy nominated, rightfully so. So when I found out that Sid was dropping this project, I was excited and I was not disappointed. Songs that really stuck out, All About Me, Insecurities, and my favorite song, Over, featuring Black, who is increasingly, day by day, is becoming one of my favorite R&B artists out right now. So him and Sid together was a great combination. The album as a whole, real smooth, jazzy production, and it has the same feel, but it's not repetitive at all. Like, a lot of the songs have their own vibes, and at the same time they mesh together well. So it's an enjoyable listen. I definitely, if you haven't heard it, please go check that out. My next honorable mention will be an album that I didn't even know was out until like maybe a month after it came out. So I found out these guys were making a comeback. I had to check it out, and this is probably not only their comeback album, but their best album that I've ever heard from them. And I'm talking about the Cool Kids, and they put out an album called Special. I'm gonna put the title at the bottom because it's a long title. And it's a long album, but it's worth listening to from start to finish. The Cool Kids back better than ever with this album. Songs that really stuck out is Check, Moon Landing. There's so many. My favorite song, The Motion, which is so different for them, but it works because they have that kind of style that's very versatile. So it's kind of similar to the Afrobeat island mixture that a lot of artists were trying to pick up after Drake, kind of made it popular in the mainstream. And it has that kind of vibe, but it's a really dope song. The song with Jeremiah is dope. All the classic Cool Kids tracks, and then they even mixed it in with some stuff that you've never heard them do before, but they did it well on this album. So haven't checked that out, I strongly advise you to check that out. But without further ado, let's get into the list proper. Starting off with number 10, an album that, I'm gonna be real, I heard it and my first immediate reaction was, damn, this is gonna be album of the year. Then a lot of other albums came out. And I've actually kind of dialed back my excitement about this album after revisiting it, but I still feel like it was one of the better hip hop releases this year. The album I'm talking about is Joey Badass's All American Badass. This album, very different for Joey, not the classic 90s New York East Coast sound. He's revived as he's ascended into hip hop mainstream, quickly becoming one of the dopest rappers in the new school right now. This album is different, a lot more versatile, but I will say that this change in pace works for him. I think he relied a little too heavy on, the political aspects, not because of the message, but because I don't think he expanded on it as much as he could have. But the songs like Temptations, Land of the Free, my favorite song, For My People, and the last couple tracks, like the track Legendary, and I honestly can't remember the name of the last song, but ties up the album real well. The song with Schoolboy Q is dope as fuck. It's a lot of dope shit on this album. Like, there's no sleeper tracks. There's nothing that really is a lull in the track list. It's a dope listen from start to finish. I feel like it's the perfect length. And if you haven't checked it out and you are a Joey Badass fan, I recommend it. I recommend that you check this album out. And let's move on, because I'm trying to make sure this video isn't 3 hours long like my other videos have been when I cover these lists. The next album is a different album. It's not your traditional R&B soul record, but it made me a fan. I'm talking about Sampha's The Process album. Now, I've never really been up on Sampha's music, and I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, but I've never really have been on his. I've heard him on different people's tracks, like the track with Drake, a few other songs, so I really didn't know what to expect. I actually just checked it out just to be curious, and it quickly became one of my favorite albums of the year. My favorite song is Take Me Inside. Songs like Plastic, 100 Degrees Celsius, Incomplete Kisses. Oh man, so many. Like, the whole album is just beautiful. It's genius. Like, I strongly advise you check this out, and I'm definitely gonna be checking out Sampha's older projects because I have become a fan because of how great this incredible album is. So let's move on to number 8. Number 8 is an album that came late in the year. Honestly, did not have high expectations for this album, and I'm a big fan of Pharrell. I'm a big fan of N.E.R.D. But with the singles that were coming off of it, like the song with Future and the song with Rihanna, which I like, but I liked it, but it didn't make me say I want to hear the rest of the album. But I heard the album, and it's incredible how great this album, relies on the classic N.E.R.D. sounds, but does not sound dated. Does not sound like their first album. It doesn't sound like it came out in 2001 or 2006 or, years ago when they first were on the scene. This sound is classic N.E.R.D, but fits perfectly in the landscape of how music is now because they were so ahead of their time, and this album proves it. The songs that I really liked, after listening to it in the context of the album, I've enjoyed the Future track more. I enjoy Rihanna on Lemon. Other songs like Lightning Fire, Magic Prayer, beautiful 7-minute song that does not sound like it's 7 minutes, does not sound like it drags. My favorite song, Kites, because of the beat is crazy. Kendrick's verse, one of his 2 features on there, is dope. And MIA, surprising feature to hear her on there. I don't know why, but I just didn't expect to. When I saw her on the track list, I didn't know what to expect. And she definitely delivers. And the whole track as a whole, the whole collaboration as a whole is just top notch. The rest of the album is great too. Surprising track that I actually enjoyed a lot was the song with Gucci Mane. I went into it thinking, it's just a lot of the features on here, some like with the one with Future or the one with Gucci and Wale and other people like that. I went into it thinking, this is just because they're hot and it's not really even gonna be that dope of a song. But I feel like not only were they on the songs, they weren't just put there just to be put there, but Pharrell and Hugo, and I can't remember the third member, I apologize. Well, all three of them came together and they made sure that they got these features to complement these songs and use their talents and their strengths to better emphasize the music, and it is dope. And also gets a bonus point for getting a Andre 3000 rap verse. You don't really hear too many of those nowadays. And Andre, rare form as usual, killed it. Just like every feature pretty much kills it. Everything on this album kills it. Definitely check this out. So I'm gonna be looking at my list because I've been doing this list for so long, I might think one thing is at another number, so I apologize. But number 7, next song on the album, the double disc album that I knew was gonna be good, I just didn't realize it was gonna be as good as it was. Definitely one of his best projects since his early projects that, you know, he is famous for, and I'm talking about Big K.R.I.T's Forever Is a Mighty Long Time. This album not only uses the double disc concept, but it also uses it in a different way, and I feel like in a way that if you were to do this would work. Like, he uses it as a way to tell two different stories, two different sides of the same coin. He does the first album, which sounds like an ode to classic Southern hip hop, like with songs like 1999 with Lloyd, or the bass song. Damn, I can't. I know what the word looks like, but I can't pronounce it all the time, so it throws me off. But then the song Big Bang with T.I. It's songs like that, and then the dope ass feature that he got with CeeLo, and the dope ass feature he got with Bun B. It just seems like an old, like a tribute. A lot of that first disc is a tribute to Southern hip hop, to classic hip hop that he grew up on, that influenced him. So it's like his rapper side, basically expressing that side. But then the flip side on disc 2 is more of his personal side, more of his introspective, like Keep the Devil Off, Higher Power with Jill Scott. That song is amazing, by the way. Drinking Sessions, which is my favorite song on the whole project. Bury Me in Gold. Like, all these songs are like these reflective, very personal, very deep, very, impactful and fantastic songs that, you can listen to one disc and get one feeling, one side, whatever mood you're in. If you're in that kind of mood, you can get that on disc 1, where it's a lot more carefree, a lot more, more brag rap. He got some, like the song with Bun B, a lot of spitting. The song with CeeLo is deeper, but it's more fun. It's more of a fun album. Then you kind of getting on the other side when it's really introspective and really reflective. And I feel like that's the core of that project, and it just works. Big K.R.I.T gives you a lot that you can go away with. And I really think that this is probably one of his best albums in years. No question. All right, I'm rambling on that album though, because this is such a great album. I had a lot to say about it. But number 6, I'm gonna move forward. Run the Jewels 3 by Run the Jewels. This album came out weirdly, like in some places it came out on the 31st of December 2016, and in some places it came out January 1st. I Googled it on Wikipedia. It says it came out January 1st, 2017, so it's going on this damn list. But this album is dope. Run the Jewels has got to be one of the most consistent duos ever. Like, Killer Mike is one of my favorite rappers of all time. He's had his missteps musically, but lyrically, he's never been in doubt. And I think that him hooking up with LP, it was just such a great combination. They came together and meshed together so well. And to the fact that it's evident in their 3-project trilogy that they've put together so far. And I feel like this album may even be one of the best. I still think their second one is slightly better, but this is definitely competing neck and neck with that one. Songs that really stuck out, legend has it. My favorite song, that's the song that really stuck out from the time I listened to it. Like, and they have a similar sound to a lot of their tracks, but it never sounds repetitive. It never sounds like you're listening to the same track over and over again. It's a lot of versatility, a lot of lyricism, a lot of aggressiveness, a lot of introspective bars, a lot of like just in your face, hard hitting tracks. And from start to finish, it's just brilliant. Like, it's a great album. Definitely one of the best to start the year off. They should have just let you know how great of a year 2017 was going to be musically with the release of Run the Jewels 3. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. Album number 5, Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. Another one of those kind of surprising releases. From the beginning of Odd Future, I was a big fan. And I feel like Tyler, once things kind of unraveled with Odd Future, I think his music suffered, because albums like Cherry Bomb and Wolf, to a lesser extent, were kind of disappointing. And you know, critics hated Goblin. People thought Bastard was immature, but I was a fan of that stuff, and I really felt like that was Tyler and what he wanted to express. But this album definitely, Flower Boy, I mean, definitely is the album that shows the growth and the progression musically that Tyler has shown. You know, he's grown up musically, he's grown up lyrically, he's grown up with his songwriting and production, and you hear it on this album. It's very lush, beautiful production on this thing. Songs that stuck out, Potholes featuring Jaden, who also had a really good album, but is not on this list, apologies. But songs like Sometimes, very short little snippet, but I feel like it works so well. It's always something I go back to. My favorite song on the project has to be Garden Shed. Like, it's just so different. It's so different, but it's beautifully built. It feels like I'm listening to an orchestra. It doesn't feel like I'm listening to a rap song. Like, it feels like I'm listening to some classical music. And then Estelle does her thing. Tyler comes in towards the end with a dope ass verse. There's so much to talk about in this album. Like, it's a lot to really appreciate. And if you've been following Tyler's story up until this point, this is definitely a great chapter in his book. And hopefully, you know, there'll be more stuff like this to come with his later projects. Going on with number 4, it is 444 by Jay-Z. Now, a lot of people are gonna be like, why isn't this your number 1 album? I think it's an amazing album, but at the same time, I don't really find myself going back to this album as much as I guess I would have thought, you know? But it's still a great album, still very different for Jay. Very surprising, like, I'm gonna say that again, about this album too. Like, it's very surprising to see Jay in this, at this moment in his career, show so much vulnerability, so a very kind of low-key, like, you know, his other albums are big on production. I feel like this album, great production, but it just didn't feel like as grand as his other projects. But I feel like it works really well. Like, songs that stuck out, of course, Story of OJ. Probably, if it wasn't for like DNA, would be my favorite rap song of the year. Story of OJ, no question. Other songs like 444, Kill, Jay-Z, Family Feud, Legacy. It's a lot to love on this album. The one knock I do have on this album, though, I don't like Smile. I think the message is real great, but as a song, that one and Caught Their Eye, I think those two songs were just the two weak spots that kind of drug it down. But still a great album, still a great album. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is Control by SZA. My favorite R&B album of the year. Really talked about a lot because of the song Weekend and how people felt about the message behind it. But as a whole, this album is great. The story basically is just kind of just these different aspects of, I guess, you know, trying to get control, you know, of yourself when you're dealing with different aspects of relationships and, you know, different scenarios where you might find yourself in as you're trying to, you know, find yourself. It's really dope. Like, this is a really great album. I expected big things from SZA, but it definitely, you know, caught me off guard at how good this album was, especially with her debut. You know, not counting her EPs. This is her like album, full-length LP debut. Songs that stuck out: Drew Barrymore, which is my favorite track. The Weeknd. Anybody that puts a collaboration on that album with James Fauntleroy is always gonna get a thumbs up for me. So the song that they did together is a highlight. I mean, the whole album, really, start to finish. And it's a long album, but you know, for a long car drive, this is definitely one of my first picks when I want to listen to something from start to finish. And a lot of the songs you can just pick out, like Love Galore, Go Gina. Just, it's a lot to love about this album. So, you know, definitely one of the best albums of 2017. Now, we're gonna go to the top two. Number two is Laila's Wisdom by Rapsody. For a minute, this was one of the reasons why I had to revise this list is because my number one and number two albums were fighting for the top spot. But there was no question that this is definitely one of the best rap albums of the year. Rapsody absolutely killed it. Now, I'm gonna be real, I'm a fan of Rapsody, but I guess I don't find myself all over her full projects that I've heard. Like, it's been songs I've picked here and there, but for the most part, never really hung on to a whole project. But this album was definitely growth, and it definitely shows that Rapsody is one of the best rappers that we got. And if she keeps continually putting out projects on this type of level, she's definitely gonna be one of the greatest of all time at some point. Because lyrically, she's hanging in there with Black Thought, Kendrick Lamar. She's standing side by side with Busta Rhymes. Like, it's a lot. Like, you could hear not only is these people featured on her album, but she's taking them to task, and she's outshining a lot of them on this project. Songs that stuck out: Power with Kendrick Lamar, favorite song. It was really hard for me to pick a favorite song on this project, but if I'm gonna pick one, it'll have to go to Riding with GQ. But the whole album from stop to finish, I mean, Roller Coaster Love. The one song I might have not liked as much was the song with BJ the Chicago Kid. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's just, you know, with thinking about the rest of the project, I just don't think it was, it fit as well with how consistently great every song was up until that point. But I mean, overall, it's a great album though. It's definitely deserving of my number two spot. Would be number one, but I'd have to give it to Damn, Kendrick Lamar. This album has gotten better with me because of the fact that if you play it backwards, like, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but if you play it backwards, like, I've been listening to the backwards version, and it's actually a better album if you play it backwards. That is incredible. The fact that Kendrick is able to put out this kind of body of work, vastly different than his other projects, and it still be the best thing that I've heard all year, that a lot of people have heard all year, is amazing. My favorite songs off of this project that stuck out, I mean, really the whole project is incredible. I actually would have a better time telling you about the songs I didn't like, which is the only song on there that really stucks out as bad is God. Like, the song God is just, I don't know. There's a deeper meaning behind it. There might be more to it, but the production and Kendrick's delivery just sounded really nasally and annoying. And I just couldn't get myself to get through it. But overall, the album is incredible. Duckworth, DNA, which is my favorite song, not only on this album, but of the entire year. My favorite rap song of the entire year. Songs like Pride and Love and Humble and Element and Yeah, and it's an amazing project. Like, I listen to it constantly. I listen to it back and forth, in reverse, straightforward how it was originally released. It's an amazing album, and my pick for the best album of 2017. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. Like I said, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate y'all supporting this show. As we wrap up season 2, we will be back at season 3, bigger and better than ever. But until next time, it's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous. This is Dangerous Minds, and I'll see you next time. Peace, much love.